Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to the Overwatch League, and it's a bit of news we're going to go through here. So, in the past couple of days, there has been a list published on the Overwatch League website, which has had a bit of a overhaul since the season ended, and is the 2020 team needs and player contract statuses of everyone in the league. This is an extraordinary list. We didn't get this last year, I don't think, but this is a list of every player in the league, whether they've been tied down to a contract to their team or whether they're free to look elsewhere or have been let go already. This is really interesting. The free agency window starts on Monday, October the 7th, which, when I'm recording this, is tomorrow. And this could be one hell of a crazy off-season, looking at this list. I've had a brief look at it already, but to be quite honest, I might have missed something, but there are some big names that are up for grabs out of the league this year. So, here we are. We start off with the Atlanta Reign. Atlanta Reign are going to keep hold of all of their team, I believe. It gets confusing because you've got team option, and then you've got free agents, and then you've got under contract. So, whoever's under contract, they are tied down. On a team option, they have teams until November the 11th to have to exercise their option to retain these players. Otherwise, they become free agents. So, they're not tied down, but they can't make any moves until November the 11th when their contract runs out. Then they can decide to go elsewhere if they want to, or that's when the window for the team that currently has them ends for them to extend their contract. So, if we look at the Atlanta Reign, most of them are on team options right now because they would have been on a one-year contract. The only person who isn't on a team option is Funny Astro. That's because he's a two-way player with the Atlanta Reign Academy, and so I wouldn't expect him to be going anywhere. But all of them are on team options, so they could be going somewhere, but I think most of them will be sticking to the Atlanta Reign. Boston Uprising is where we see things really be shaken up here. Aim God has not been retained by the Boston Uprising. He is free to look elsewhere. That's a surprise to me, considering I think he's one of their best supports, but they didn't play him come the end of the season, so they might as well get rid of him. We've got Adamau, who's on a team option. Axiom, Blaze, Color Hex, and Fusions are all under contract. Kellex is free to leave. Persia, RCK, and Stella are all on team options. I would be surprised if they got rid of their tank line. I mean, Fusions is tied down. RCK has been decent. It was really, for me, the DPS line, and especially the support line, that let the Boston Uprising down last season. Everyone at the Chengdu Hunters is under contract, so they're going nowhere. So we should see everyone out of the Chengdu Hunters appearing for them next season, which is great news for the Chengdu Hunters. They really did exceed expectations this season. Dallas Fuel have got AKM, Closer, Harry Hook, and Mickey all under contract. They have let Note look elsewhere on a free agent. I'm really surprised about that. Note should be picked up. Note is a really good tank, and he can also play the Zarya and the Roadhog if needed. Even though he's primarily known as a Diva player, we don't see much Diva at the moment. But I'd be surprised if Note doesn't get picked up if Dallas Fuel really don't want him. OGE is under contract, so is Taimu, Trill, Unko, and Zachary. They're not going anywhere. This is an interesting one. This is a really interesting one. It caught me off guard to see Note on a free agent there. But we will see what Dallas do. Dallas didn't live up to, not hype, but we thought they'd improve, and they really didn't, did they? Let's be honest. Florida Mayhem, basically all under team options, apart from Sire Player and Fate, which I'm not surprised about. They're two really good players. They're under contract, and they don't want them going anywhere, especially not Sire Player. I think a lot of them will be retained. Florida Mayhem really did push on when it came to the end of the season, and I'm hoping that 2020 is pretty bright for this roster. I'm hoping, because we haven't seen the best. We certainly haven't seen the best of the Florida Mayhem in the past 2 years. Guangzhou Charge, Bishu is now a free agent. I'm not totally surprised about this. So is Fraggy, unfortunately, and Hopper. We really didn't see too much of these players. But that's two off-tanks, Bishu and Hopper, who are now free to leave if they want to, which is kind of surprising. This still could change. They're still with Guangzhou Charge, and they could still stay with Guangzhou Charge. They're just not under contract, so they're free to go wherever they want. So, this could change. But I would like to see Fraggy get a team. I think we all love Fraggy. I think we all love Fraggy. I'd love to see Junior Lane get a team. So please, someone pick up Fraggy. Hangzhou Spark. Hangzhou Spark are an interesting one. They are all under contract, apart from Bazzi, who is on a team option. I think he'll be staying. No Smite will also probably be staying. Revenge is on a team option as well. He'll probably be staying. I think the tricky one for the Hangzhou Spark is Crystal, because they had a lot of problems with Crystal come at the end of the season, and he's under contract. He's not going anywhere unless they decide to go through lawsuits or something because his problems at the end of the season to try and get him out of his contract. But there's a problem for Hangzhou Spark to sort out there, but they had a really good season, so they should be able to keep hold of most, if not all, of their roster, which is really good. Houston Outlaws. This is where we start looking at things. Houston Outlaws had a lot of difficulties last season with, obviously, things going on in the org. Obviously, Optic is no more now. They're now part of the parent group of the LA Gladiators, Valiant, sorry. That can't last forever, so we don't know what's going to happen there. They are putting some players on free agency, so that's Arhan, Banny, and Boink. That's their main support line gone, basically, which is surprising, apart from Raucus, obviously. But apart from that, we've got Coolmat, who's under contract. Dante's a team option. He should be staying. If Houston Outlaws do lose Dante, that would be a massive loss. Jake, Linksa, Muma, Raucus, and Spree are all under contract, so they ain't going anywhere. Houston is a big off-season for Houston Outlaws. Big off-season. Los Angeles Gladiators, now this is where it starts to get interesting. Big Goose is a team option, that's fine. Decay is as well. Hydration is a free agent. He is free to leave if he wants to go. That is a massive surprise. He can explore his options. Panka, Ripper, Raw, and Shaz are all team options. I'd expect them to be retained. And then we've got Shawfor, who is a free agent, and Void. But Shawfor, that is massive. If Shawfor leaves the Gladiators, that is massive for the Gladiators, and they will have to find a replacement. Shawfor would be a massive loss to the Gladiators. More perhaps than Hydration, although they are too big players to lose if they do leave. Again, it's nothing concrete. It could still be Gladiators players come next season, but that would be massive if those two players were to leave the Gladiators. That would be a big shake-up in their DPS line, and we would not know what to expect, depending on the players they sign, obviously. So, with the LA Valiant, they came on really strong at the end of last season. They are pretty much not losing anyone. They're all under either team options or under contracts. That's Agilities, Incusta under contract, they got Kariv on contract, KSF on contract, and Space on contract. And the team options are Fact Fiction, McGravy, and Shax. I wouldn't expect any of those rosters to be going anywhere. Then we come to our 2018 champions, London Spitfire, and this is where it gets interesting again. Bedosen is under contract, Birdring is a free agent, but not only is Birdring a free agent, he has been confirmed to let go by the London Spitfire on their Twitter account. Birdring will not be running in the London Spitfire colours next season. Need to have a talk about that one, perhaps as an isolated video. Fury is under contract, Gesture is under contract, Guard is also let go by the Spitfire. Not just a free agent, he will not be appearing for the Spitfire next season. Karillin is under contract, Nuss is also a free agent and let go by the London Spitfire. Prophet is obviously under contract, and Quatermain is also a team option for London Spitfire, the only team option for Spitfire actually. Birdring is an interesting one. We might have to take a unique look at Birdring, because there's a lot to talk about with him. But I'm not totally surprised, but it did also kind of catch me off guard as well. That's not a pun, I didn't mean that. But London, big shake-up coming in the off-season, and they've also let go of one of their coaches as well, J-Feel. So, really interesting what's going to happen with our inaugural season champions in this off-season. New York Excelsior have got a surprise one as well. So, under contract we have Animo, Jonak, Libero, Mano, Nene, Pine, and Sabiobi. Nice to see Pine isn't going anywhere. Just like to see him on the actual field of play. Team option is Flower, and Meko is a free agent. Meko is possibly leaving the New York Excelsior. That is a massive surprise. There is no replacement for Meko at the NYXL right now, so they would have to find a new off-tank, and to be quite honest, the Mano-Meko duo has been fantastic for them. So I would like to see the New York Excelsior tie down Meko, but it might not happen. We might see Meko rolling out for another team next year, which would be a massive surprise. Paris Eternal. Everyone is pretty much... there's no free agents at the Paris Eternal. Ben Best is under contract. We've got team options for Danye, Finzi, and Grey. We've got Hip under contract. We've got Cruz on a team option with Elite Cloudy. Nico is is under contract. Shadowburn is a team option, and Soon is under contract. They're not going to want to lose any of those players. They really just need to make additions here, the Paris Eternal, to try and get up with the other teams. Philadelphia Fusion. Okay, this is interesting. Boombox is under contract. Elk is a team option. EQO is a free agent. Carpe is a free agent. Kib is a team option. Neptuno is a free agent. Poco is under contract. Sado is a free agent. And Snillo is a free agent. Oh boy, there's a shake-up happening at the Fusion. I would not be adverse to seeing the Philadelphia Fusion move away from Carpe. I don't think Carpe lived up to what the Philadelphia Fusion needed this season. He was very good last season. There are rumours that the London Spitfire are looking at Carpe. I don't know about that, to be quite honest. I don't know about that, but we will see in any case. But this looks like a big shake-up for the Philadelphia Fusion. They really did have a tough season this season compared to what they could do in what they did in the inaugural season. It's nice to see people like Boombox under contract because he is really crucial to them. So is Poco. Neptuno started to tail off. Kib was a recent signing, but EQO is a surprising one to be on a free agent as well. Snillo's not surprising, he was a two-way. And Sado to be let go as well, perhaps. There's a big shake-up going on at the Fusion. It could be a really interesting off-season for them. We come to our current champions, San Francisco Shock. Is it a surprise that pretty much everyone is under contract for the San Francisco Shock? Everyone's under contract for the San Francisco Shock, apart from Nevix, who is a free agent. I'm not surprised about this. We really didn't see much of Nevix, but they really want to tie everyone down. So Architect, Choi Hyobin, Moth, Rascal, Sinatra, Smurf, Striker, Super, and Violet are all under contract and are not going anywhere. Boy, can anyone take down this Shock team next season? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Okay, Soul Dynasty. Again, improvements from Soul Dynasty this season. They got to the playoffs, really good, but they've got to take another step now. And this is where things get kind of a bit heartbreaking, actually. Fitz is under contract. Fletter is a team option. Hiley is under contract. Illicit is under contract. Jexe is under contract. Marvel is under contract. Michelle is under contract. Toby is a free agent. Zumbra is a free agent. And Rouge Hong is a free agent. We saw a fairly abject Rouge Hong at the end of last season when they got knocked out of the playoffs. It would be a real shame to see Rouge Hong leave the Overwatch League. I mean, he is a veteran, but he is a player that everyone really does look up to. I mean, he is one of JNATHYN's, long time. He's admired by him, and look where JNATHYN got last season. So, it would be a great tragedy to see Rouge Hong leave the league, but that's by no means sealed in. So, anything could happen between now and next season. I hope Rouge Hong, if he doesn't roll out for the Soul Dynasty, that he rolls out for someone else, because it would be heartbreaking to see him leave the league. But it means a slight shake-up for the Soul Dynasty, and I don't think we're entirely surprised. They still have very, very big expectations of themselves, obviously being ex-Lunatic High, so I'm not totally surprised. Shanghai Dragons, massive improvement on last season, I think we can all agree, right? Shanghai Dragons, yeah, they kind of missed out on the overall playoffs. They got knocked out in the play-ins by London, I believe. But I think there's a lot in this team right now. They're all pretty much on team options, including Coma, Ding, DM, Dia. God, there's a lot of Ds in Shanghai Dragons. Envy is under contract. Gamsu is a free agent, which is a surprise. Geguri is a team option. Ijiaki is under contract. Luffy and Youngjun are on team options. Gamsu on a free agent is very surprising to me. I don't know whether Gamsu might want to look at his options. I wouldn't have thought Shanghai want to lose him. He was really stable and a really good signing for them early last season. So I would be very surprised to see him leave. But again, maybe they've got another tank player in mind that they might want. So options for the Shanghai Dragons, but I wouldn't expect too much to be shook up at the Shanghai Dragons, because the improvement is massive on last season. So, moving on, Toronto Defiant. Toronto Defiant started off really, really strong, and then it gradually got worse and worse and worse and worse until we are where we are now, and they're not very good. Let's be honest. But there was a big shake-up during the middle of the season for the Toronto Defiant, bringing in people like Mangachu and Logix. And they are all on team options. So that's Aid, Gods, I'm37, Ivy, Logix, Mangachu, Neko, Roki, Shurk, and Yakpung. They're all team options. So they could leave after November the 11th. But they still have the option of having their contracts extended by the Toronto Defiant before then. Now, Vancouver Titans, our runners-up for this season, are pretty much all tied down. Bumper is under contract, Hacksaw is under contract, Hureg is under contract, Jano is under contract, Repel is a team option, Somanzu is under contract, so is Slime, so is Stitch. TZ is a team option, but I would expect them to hang on to him considering his performances in the playoffs. And Twilight is under contract. It's been hugely successful for the Titans despite the lack of league title, but I wouldn't expect too much to change for them, perhaps like one additional two just to give them a bit more flexibility, but I wouldn't expect too much to change for Vancouver. And then we come to our last team, and it is the Washington Justice. This is the team that's really surprised me. Washington Justice had a phenomenal end to the season, right? Addo is a free agent. Ark is a free agent. Corey and Elevote are under contract. The reason Elevote is under contract because they literally just signed him. He hasn't played for the Washington Justice yet. Guido is a team option. Hayunu is a free agent. We didn't really see him. Janice is a free agent, no surprise there. Lolshis is under contract because he's only just been signed. He's paired with Elevote from EU Contenders, if you didn't know. And it's a tank line, so that should be a really strong tank line for the Washington Justice next season. Sansam is a free agent, Sleepy is a free agent, which surprised me as well, and Stratus is a team option. So, Washington Justice are pushing ahead with a massive overhaul, which kind of surprised me considering their really promising end to the season. I would have expected for them to keep hold of people like Addo, Ark, and Sleepy. I don't know. It's a surprise. I think Washington Justice needed more of a shake-up in the back room rather than they did on the actual seats in the arena. So, Washington Justice, this could be a good move or a bad move. It could be a good move or a bad move, but it depends obviously who they sign. I mean, there's a lot of players coming up who are going to be free to roam elsewhere. I mean, if they could coup someone like, I don't know, someone big from one of the teams that are letting go a lot of the players, then perhaps Sado or something? No, they don't need a tank though. That's the thing. They don't need tank. They don't need damage players because Corey and Stratus and all that have been doing really well. So it's difficult to know. It's difficult to know where Washington Justice are going with this. Whether they're just slimming down their roster, because they do have a very big roster, and trying to concentrate on a core roster like London Spitfire did. It'll be interesting. But that is it. That is all the 20 teams, and I'm slowly losing my voice, so bear with me. But a lot of surprises in here. You look at the Philadelphia Fusion, if I can find them again. You look at the Fusion, Carpe, EQO, up for grabs, Sado up for grabs. You know, there's some big names here. Big names that could make a lot of difference for other teams during the season. Again, I've seen Carpe linked with London Spitfire. I don't know about that one, but who knows? I've always been of the opinion that the Philadelphia Fusion have based their team around Carpe. This season, that didn't work, because it wasn't Carpe's favourable meta. If you want Carpe in a meta, you want McCree, you want Widow. That was not this season. This season was Goats, Reaper, and all that, so that's not Carpe's cup of tea, right? London Spitfire letting go of Birdring, again, that's kind of a video in itself, that is. Birdring has his ups and downs. He was fantastic in the first season, but this season, really, he didn't cut it, did he? So, I might do a separate video completely on Birdring. But, I'm going to leave it here for these transfers. Obviously, the window opens on the 7th of October for free transfers. The team option window opens after November the 11th. So, this is really interesting. Also, the little stats there as well. In 2019, the average player earned $114,000 comprising a 97,000 base salary and 16k from prize pool winnings and 1k from signing bonuses. The median player salary was 80k, the league minimum player salary was 50k plus benefits. We kind of knew this information. It's interesting to know the average though. Interesting to know the average. I wonder which teams pay the least. I would assume perhaps Houston are quite low. That's just because of their situation. But who knows? I don't want to rabble on because this video, if you're not already thinking it's not scripted. So I'm babbling and it's 20 minutes long. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. This is really interesting. If you want to go and look at this, it's on the Overwatch League website. I would seriously have a look. There's some names here that could be really picked up by some teams. There's also been a link between Atlanta Reign and Shurk, which could be really interesting going into next season for the Reign. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.